Let me ask you a question. Are you using TikTok? Maybe you are and you watch all the funny videos, but are you using TikTok for your business? I know what you might be thinking. Another platform to learn and more time creating content? After listening to this episode, you might rethink TikTok, especially when our guest shares how she uses TikTok to help her create new content that she can use on other platforms. You know I'm a big fan of repurposing. Today, Aubree Malick joins the show to share how she leverages TikTok to build her audience. And I think I'll take her word for it because she grew her TikTok following to almost 300,000 in under a year, which I think is pretty impressive. Aubree is the host of the Freelance to CEO podcast, and she's dedicated to moms who are eager to design a freelance business. Listen in because you might look at TikTok differently after today. Hey there, sister. Welcome to the Social Media for Mompreneurs podcast. I'm your host, Allison Scholes, and I am on a mission to help mompreneurs like you ditch the Instagram overwhelm and take control of your time on the app and build an extraordinary brand and business, but still be fully present with your family and just be crazy happy with your life. This show is filled with Instagram strategies, marketing hacks, branding and business tips with a side of coffee and Jesus. If you're ready for some juicy content, you know what to do. Hand your kiddos those tablets, open those juice boxes, grab your coffee, whiskey, or wine, and let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Social Media for Mompreneurs podcast. And I am really excited about today's topic. I think it might surprise you. We're going to talk about TikTok today. I know most of the time I'm always talking about Instagram and how to scale your business, but I have yet to have anyone on my show talk about TikTok, but talk about it in a way that feels aligned with you as an individual, and not only how to help it grow your business and maybe get the visibility that you want, get some eyeballs on your business, but do it in a way that feels fun and not forced. So Aubree Malick is in the house today. So glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah. So Aubree, you and I have a lot in common. You are a boy mom. You are a former teacher, and you also have a podcast, Freelancer to CEO podcast. So real quick, I know it won't be quick, but maybe summarize for us. Like, that's a lot. You were a former teacher. Then you went into like the whole virtual assistant, freelancing. Now you have a podcast. Now you're on TikTok. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
I will promise to give you the Cliff Notes version because I could go into detail here. But basically, I was teaching. I taught for 5 years. I honestly didn't see anything else in my future. Even when my husband asked me, what do you see 10 years down the road? Like, I always just saw myself being a teacher, like not even going into administration or anything. I really did love what I did as a teacher, but when I became a mom, that's when a lot of things shifted for me. And you don't think about those things really when you're picking a degree and you're going into your job, because you're just kind of planning for like, okay, like, yeah, I got to have a job. And you don't think about what am I going to feel like when things change, when life changes, when life comes our way, because a lot of people don't even know what the next year is going to bring. And so when I became a mom, I really was having the constant struggle of being teacher and being mom, and those lines were constantly being blurred. And I just really wanted to find a way where I could work and contribute to my family financially, but also be at home, create my own schedule. Even though as a teacher, you hear that, well, you get summers off and you have these breaks throughout the year. It's not like that. There's a lot of extra time, especially if you were like me and you're feeling like I gotta, stay late and go in early. So I just felt at this time when my kids were young, I kind of just think, it's like for the next 5 years, I want to do something from home so I can be with my kids when they're at school. I'll go back to teaching, and had tried a couple different things to make money from home, joined some network marketing companies, tried teaching kids English online. Like, I've been there, done that. And it wasn't until I was in a mom Facebook group and I told everybody what I had tried, and someone said, have you ever looked into being a virtual assistant? And I had never even heard of it. And so my eyes were immediately like, oh, okay, this is something new, and just kind of dove in and literally like my commutes to school, my breaks at school, my lunchtime was just devouring as much information as I could, reading blog posts, listening to podcasts, and really just kind of diving headfirst into that. And set a goal at the time when I started my business, I was 7 months pregnant, and set a goal to walk away from my teaching job by the time my second son was born. And I did that. I kind of proved to myself and proved to my husband that yes, this was bringing in money. I gained my first client within a week and quickly scaled that business. I had replaced my teaching income within 4 months, and about a year in, started feeling these like tugs on my heart, like what's next? I don't know. And just knew that I wanted to show up for the people who were even asking me, like, how did you do this? And so I started a podcast because I thought that would be really, really cool. And I like to talk, as you can probably already tell within the first 5 minutes of this episode, and just started sharing what I had done and what I had learned in the year of starting a business. Not, showing up from the expert by any means, just kind of telling other people what I had gone through. And the episodes that were the ones that were the most downloaded were about freelancing and starting that business. And so kind of leaning into that, I didn't go into it thinking I was going to teach other people how to do that, but just kind of leaning into what my audience was asking for and started giving more episodes on that. And it just slowly started to grow into that. And so now I'm three years out of the classroom, and that's what I do. I help moms and teachers start a virtual assistant business from home so that they can just have more choice and freedom in their life. And then got on TikTok about a year ago and started venturing with that as a new marketing experience. That's what I like to call it when I started on that.
I like how you call it a marketing experience. Like that is really kind of a cool way to look at it. So speaking of TikTok, I know that you've only been on it for a year and you've grown your following to almost 300,000 in under a year. And I think that is like ultra impressive. So why TikTok? Why did you start there?
Such a great question. So I've been on the platform since the pandemic. I think that's when a lot of people download it. We had a lot of time on our hands, and I was seeing a lot of people on there, and I'm like, I'm just going to download it and just kind of bide my time because I had a lot of extra time on my hands, and just started watching what was going on there. The explore page is kind of called the For You page. And so that's just where you can basically scroll through video after video. And I just was kind of seeing what other people were doing. And I just was having so much fun being a consumer on the app. So I was on the app for about 8 months before I even really started thinking like, okay, I'll start posting on here. And I think that was really good for me because I got to get a sense of what other people were doing, what was working, what was capturing my own attention. So kind of being at it from that side of it and seeing like, what's stopping the scroll for me? Because what you'll find on TikTok, if you get on there, I mean, people pretty much just scroll. So you have to be able to capture someone's attention within the first 3 to 5 seconds in order for them to even stop on your video to actually see what you have to offer. So I kind of just started making notes of those things. And I think that really helped me. And I by no means had overnight success. I actually went into it when I started on there. It was February of 2021. And I had been, marketing my business on Instagram. I had been on stories, and I just felt like it was kind of stagnant for me. And I was just seeing a lot of the same faces, and I just wasn't gaining not enough traction, but it just kind of was like this. I felt like the same song and dance for me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go over on TikTok. I feel like I've got a pretty good grasp of what's going on there. I'm going to give it 30 days. I'll, post for 30 days, consistently show up, provide value within my niche of what I'm doing. So I had a really clear picture of what I was actually going to be posting, which I think really helped me. And I was like, I'll just give it 30 days, see what happens. If after 30 days, nothing happens, no harm, no foul, like, move on, and I'll go back to what I was doing. And I think it was about day like 28 where I was like, okay, I've done it and nothing's happening. And like day 28, I had like my first little like mini viral video, and I'm like, okay, like we're getting somewhere. And it just was, like I said, it was really fun for me. It was something different. And I think what allowed me to post maybe a little bit more freely than I had on Instagram is because I kind of went into it with the assumption, and maybe this, helped me too, is that there's brand new people on TikTok, like people that have never heard of me before that I don't even know in real life here. And so it allowed me to post without that fear of, rejection or that fear of judgment. And that I think really helped me going into it. And now I know that there are people, like I'm doing air quotes here, like people in my real life who follow me over on TikTok, who see my stuff. But now I've just gotten so comfortable with it that I don't even think about that. And it's different from Instagram stories, where with Instagram stories, it's like you see the people who watch your content. And sometimes that can be really overwhelming for somebody to even like think about posting a story like, oh my gosh, they're going to see it. And what are they going to say? Like you don't see those same kind of metrics over on TikTok. So it allows you just to be a little bit more relaxed about it.
Now, there's two things that stood out to me when you were explaining that. Number one is when you decided to experiment with TikTok, you not only picked the 30 days, but it sounds to me that you had a clear plan. And included in that plan, which is the second thing that stood out to me, is you were going to stay within your niche. So you didn't go on TikTok with the expectation of, I have to do what everyone else is doing, what's trending. I have to do all the dances and the lip singing and all of that. You kind of just went on with your plan of action and you stuck to your niche. Do you think that that's what really helped move the needle for you to grow so quickly on TikTok?
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of started, I would say, I'm trying to remember when I changed my podcast name. Because when I started my podcast, it was very like broad. My podcast actually was called Mom with Purpose, which is still very near and dear to my heart. But I think that was still a little broad. Like people would come to my podcast and be like, what is this podcast about? So when I changed my podcast name to Freelancer to CEO, people knew if they landed on my podcast, yes, this is for me, or no, it's not for me. And that's where I really started to see the growth with my podcast. So when I went into TikTok, I wanted that same thing too. I wanted people to come to my page and know, here's what I'm going to learn from this girl. And yes, it's going to help me, or no, it's not. And have that clear distinction so that people who really wanted to learn from me would follow me and would want to hang around and see what else I had to produce. And then also too, because I went into it without the expectation of, oh, I have to grow overnight, or I have to, get so many likes. I was able to create this bank of videos that I could refer people back to. And when they came to my page, maybe they saw one video that went viral or maybe got a little bit of traction. They could come back to my page and see like, oh, this girl knows what she's talking about. She's got all these other videos here, and I can go and I can kind of binge her content that she has here. And from that content, I was continuing to push people in the direction that I wanted them to go to. So it was kind of like the tip of the iceberg for me was TikTok. And then I could say, hey, if you want to learn more about this topic, I did a whole episode on my podcast. Hey, I've got a free training in my bio. If you go grab this, I'm going to go more in depth into this. And it wasn't like I was reinventing the wheel. I was taking the content that I had already been posting on my podcast and just breaking it down into smaller bite-sized pieces, because on TikTok, it's all short form video. So it wasn't like I could take a whole, 15, 20-minute podcast episode. I could just take one piece of it. Like, here's my best tip for gaining clients. Here's my best tool that I like to use in my business. And then I could, again, continue to push them, because I have them on the platform on TikTok, but I don't own TikTok, just like we don't own Instagram. So how can I get them off where I'm not just creating this following on TikTok and not being able to do anything with it later? Of course, I'm in a business. I, have programs and courses, things that I sell. So how can I continue to nurture them off the platform with all the other free content that I have?
Hey, just a quick reminder that the Insta Accelerator Academy is now open. If you're sick of jumping from coach to coach and course to course to not only build your business, but explode on Instagram, then this membership academy is the answer. Not only do you have access to a ton of Instagram and business building bundles, which you can do at your own pace, you'll also have access to monthly coaching calls with me and a private community of other entrepreneurs who have your back. If you're ready to take back control of your time spent on Instagram and grow your brand and business with ease and confidence, and finally show up on social the way you were always designed to do by the grace of God, then head to bossladyinsweatpants.com and join the Academy. No need to dump thousands of dollars into masterminds and high-ticket coaches. Get the clarity and confidence you need that costs less than your monthly manicure. I'll see you inside the Insta Accelerator Academy. Now, something else that I think you were doing on TikTok. So not only were you creating content, not even really creating, I guess, filming the videos, obviously, but it's content that you already had. How can engaging and answering questions on TikTok help create new content? Like, how are you doing that on TikTok?
Yes, this is one of my favorite features of TikTok. Is what you'll find is a lot of people will comment because you're getting new people all the time. It's not the same people. So I will have people who will come to my page. It still shocks me. Like, people will ask, what is a virtual assistant? So I'm getting fresh faces on there, and from there they're commenting on my videos, asking questions or wanting me to go more in depth, or asking me something that's a different piece of content that I haven't covered yet. So from there, sometimes it's hard. We're doing our podcast. I'm sure you can relate to this. It's like, all right, what do I want to talk about this week? How do I come up with these topics? I was taking the questions that I was getting asked in my comment section of my TikTok, or when I would go live on TikTok, the questions that would come up a lot. And I was creating that evergreen podcast content. So then I could, again, if this question came up, I could say, hey, I just did a whole podcast episode on it. Go check out the Freelancer to CEO podcast. And then I was, again, pushing people to the other content that I had, so that they weren't just living on TikTok. I was getting them off the platform as well. So yeah, the comments were really great for me, just to help. Sometimes even we think as like the creator of the content that we know what people want, but it was great when people were actually asking those questions, because I'm like, oh, I didn't think that they would want to know this, or that they would think about it in this way, or that they would have this misconception. A lot of times I'll do like some like myth debunking on there about like what exactly is freelancing, or what is a virtual assistant. And so I was able to take that and to repurpose it over on my podcast and have that live there. And then again, anybody can find me on my podcast too, but it was a great way to give me some fresh ideas as to what people actually want to learn more about.
I love that. Now I'm curious, when you're doing TikTok videos, something that I've noticed, because I'm trying to get over there a little more, and I'll have to ask you this question to follow up to this one, but I'm noticing on TikTok, the size of the caption is like next to nothing compared to Instagram. Do you have any like tips or strategies when it comes to doing, like you said, a very short form video? I think you're only allowed up to what, a minute?
Some people can do up to 3 minutes now, but again, that's, you lose people after. Even my videos that I want to go more in depth with that are minute longs, like those videos are not getting the same kind of traction that my shorter videos do. The caption is actually the thing that I love about TikTok the most, because that was my struggle with Instagram. I would sit there and have the picture and I'm like, what am I going to write for this caption? And, have to come up with something so that you would keep people on, your page and clicking the see more and, all that stuff. So I actually liked that it was not this lengthy thing, because I was like, okay, again, not that I don't put thought into what I do, but it was less pressure for me to feel like I've got to come up with this super like I could just use me. I could use my hooks. I could use the information that I had, the content that I had to engage people. And it wasn't necessarily about who could write the best caption. So I actually like that too. But a lot of times what I will use the caption for is to push people to my comment section, because what TikTok really favors now in the algorithm, I feel like it changes every day, and it's always hard to keep up with. I'm sure you can feel the same way about Instagram, yes. But is the watch time. So what happens is if I use my caption to push people to the comments, people are going to go to the comments. The video is playing in the background. So if they're in the comments and they're typing out a response, or they're seeing what other people are saying, the video is playing in the background. So it's getting that extra watch time. It's getting that full, they're watching the entire video through multiple times over. That's showing TikTok, okay, this is a video that needs to get pushed out to more people too. So that's how I'll use the caption. But like I said, it's just taken a lot of the pressure out of me. And I don't know if anybody else feels this way with trying to come up with something that's like super captivating as a caption. I was never that way on Instagram. I always dreaded it. So when I went over there and I'm like, sweet, I can, do something short and sweet. I can put some hashtags in there, and I don't really, again, it made it feel more fun to me. Because like I said, I do have strategy and thought behind it, but it took that pressure of it having to be curated and super thought out. Like I could just put something up there, and if it worked, great. If it didn't, okay. And maybe why didn't it work? Did I maybe not word it the correct way? Did I maybe not capture them with my hook? And then the best part about it is you can, like, I post 3 to 5 videos a day over there. You can reuse the content that you're posting over and over again. So there'll be times where I'll take something that I've done and maybe it didn't hit the first time. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I probably didn't capture them here, or maybe I didn't put the call to action at the end like I wanted to. And I can redo that video using maybe a different sound or maybe using a different hook. And nobody's going to be any the wiser that I just did that one too. That's one of the beauties of TikTok is it's okay to reuse things. It's okay to use the same trend or the same sound over and over again too.
Now that brings up a great question, because you just mentioned you show up like 3 to 5 times a day. Is that what you really need to do for, well, I guess it really goes back to what's your goal with TikTok. So for someone who's just getting started and just kind of wants to slowly build a presence, do they need to be on that platform consistently, like every day? And not only that, do they need to be also engaging with other videos? Yeah,
I think the key here is consistency. I don't think that there's a magic number. And I know that there will be some people who will say, yep, this is the number you need to post. These are the times you need to post. For me, what I found is just showing up consistently. There are some days where the creative juices are flowing and I'm like, I can bang out a bunch of videos and get them up there. I know that these are going to be the pain points that people are seeing and that they want the help with. But then there's other times where I'm like, just, struggling to get that flowing. And so I would say pick a number that feels doable for you to start and just stick with that. So if one video feels doable a day, stick with that and just do that every day. If you feel like you could maybe do a couple more, okay. I always tell people, like, if they're getting started, start small. Like, don't feel like you have to post 10 videos a day to get started. Just stay consistent, because that's what TikTok wants to see. They don't want to see you post, one day post 10 videos and then ghost the platform for a week or 2 weeks and do nothing. So instead of, doing 10 videos in one day, stretch that out and maybe just do 2 videos a day, do 1 video a day, whatever feels doable for you. That's where I feel like you're going to find the most success, but it is with consistency. It is engaging on the app, engaging with the people who are commenting on your posts. I'm not like ashamed to say this too, I will get the conversation going in my comments. So I will be the first person that comments on my videos. Maybe it's a question I want people to answer when they come to the comments. Maybe it's something further that if the video was short, sometimes in my caption, I'll say, see more in the comments. I know that people will do that on TikTok too, or on Instagram. And so I'll start the conversation, because sometimes people feel intimidated, like, well, I don't want to be the first to comment. So I'll get that going so that they come to the comments and they're like, okay, like I can answer this question or I can engage further. And then, like engaging with other people and spending some time, like I said, that's what I did in the beginning, spending some time on the app, seeing what other people are doing, seeing how it sticks, how it feels for you. But ultimately you want to do something that feels aligned for you. If you enjoy dancing, like, do dancing. If you don't enjoy dancing, you don't have to do dancing. There's other ways to hook people in with your content. There's people on there who have millions of followers that don't do any kind of trends, any dancing. They just do face to camera, but they do it in a way that really solves a problem for, the people that are coming to their page, whether it's just to entertain, whether, it's to inspire, whether it's to give value, whether it's to educate and teach something. So really figuring out where you fall within those areas.
I would love your opinion on this. What do you think about when people take existing video off of another platform, such as maybe Facebook or Instagram Reels? And I know that a lot of these platforms don't like other platform logos. So I'm crafty and I'm able to remove the Instagram logo. And then the next day I will put my existing video or my existing reel on TikTok and write a quick little caption with a few hashtags and post it. Do you think that that is a doable strategy in the beginning, or do you think, no, you should be using the TikTok platform and make authentic content right in their platform?
I think you can do a little bit of both, but what I have seen from being on the app is that things that are trending, or you have the different sounds that are trending on Instagram Reels. For chances are that was already a trend on TikTok about a month or so ago. So you might miss that piece of it. But I think if it's value driven content, if it's not like on trend sounds, I think it'll perform fine. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm taking my videos off of TikTok, not all of them, because not all of them are going to make sense to perform well on other platforms. But even if you like, this is something that I'm going to be experimenting too, just trying to not necessarily do TikTok trends, but just filming different aspects. So maybe filming myself like on a coaching call with a student and being able to take that. Maybe there was a really good nugget in there that I said to a student, like having my camera recording that, or having Zoom, and being able to take that and pull that out and repurpose it on there. I don't think there's anything wrong with repurposing it on TikTok. But I have actually found that on the TikTok app, using the native recording is way easier for me than Instagram Reels. Now, maybe that's just because I'm not on Instagram Reels as much, but I've learned very quickly how to use that. And again, it just makes the process a lot easier for me. But I would say mix in a little bit of both. Like, get familiar with using TikTok to record and grabbing the sounds and doing the different effects on there. But then if you do already have content that you've used other places, like there's nothing against using that to repurpose it. Again, like if it's super value driven and it's really going to speak to your audience, and it's going to be something that they can come to and binge again, I would say definitely do that.
Now, what would you say to the mompreneur who was like, okay, I want to dabble in TikTok, I just want to build a presence? What is your advice for overcoming comparisonitis? Because that's going to hit for sure.
Yeah, I think what you will find, and maybe this is why I really did like TikTok, I wasn't really finding people who were doing the exact same thing as me. Sure, now if I like search, a hashtag within my niche, I'm going to see if there's other people doing that. But a lot of times on the For You page, the explore page that comes up, there's a lot of different videos that come up. So I was seeing people who were outside of my niche. I was seeing people who were doing like business, but doing it in a different niche. And so I wasn't finding myself like I feel like that was what held me back on Instagram, honestly, because I was seeing a lot of the same people, a lot of that same content, and it was holding me back because I'm like, well, she's over here and she's got this many followers. Like in TikTok, I kind of was able to stay in my own lane and focus on what I was doing. I didn't have to think, oh, I've got to post, a carousel tomorrow and make sure that I do a reel here and make sure that I'm on stories. Like sometimes that can feel overwhelming to somebody, where it's like, if you're just on TikTok, like it's just a short form video and you can experiment and you can try different things. You can, like I said, you don't have to be so tied to the metrics, because you can post again and, like I said, switch that up. So I would just say if you're thinking about doing it, you definitely download the app and just kind of play around with it and just spend some time kind of looking and seeing what's doing well. Maybe if you see a video that's doing really well, why did it do well? What can you kind of take from that? And then again, just really staying like true to who you are. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Sometimes that's the thing that will even stand out to me the most on the app. Like, wow, she's, doing this in a completely different way than somebody else is doing it. But yeah, I think you're less likely to feel that comparison because I don't see the same type of people that I see on Instagram, on TikTok, on my feed, if that makes any sense.
It does. And I think that's really refreshing to hear, that getting on there, you're not going to see, when I get on there, I'm not going to see like a bunch of different Instagram coaches or Instagram strategists. And same with you, you might not see a bunch of virtual assistants, which is really cool. So like you said, you can just stay in your own lane and have some fun with it. So this was an awesome conversation. You've encouraged me to kind of take a look at TikTok and see if I can maybe come up with a fun little strategy and to have a plan for why I'm on TikTok. Is it to have my audience go check out my podcast? Do I want them to be coming over on Instagram and see what I got going on over there, or driving them to my website or my YouTube channel? So I think that's the biggest takeaway that I came from this conversation is, before you even get on TikTok, have a clear goal of where you want to drive the people watching your videos. What is the whole point of doing it? It's not to become, famous overnight and get a brand deal. Like, let's just be clear, that's not going to happen. So this, I love everything that you said. And do you have anything else to add?
I did want to share one thing, because I know that we had kind of touched on this about like how are TikTok and Instagram possibly like related. Now, this not to say that you have to swear up Instagram. I'm still on Instagram. Here's one little thing that I did. Now, I'm not super active on Instagram as far as like posting on my feed. I'm on stories mostly, and I'm in the DMs. But what I would tell people on TikTok is, hey, like come send me a DM. Like if I was on a live video, come send me a DM over on Instagram. Number one, I don't care for TikTok's DM feature, because if you send me a DM, I'm going to voice message you back. That's just the way that I communicate. It's way faster for me and I can get through more people. And so I was guiding people to do that too. But you can also, there's only 2 other social platforms that you can link up in TikTok is Instagram and YouTube. So I had my Instagram right in my profile. It's linked right there. So people would naturally, not everybody, but people would naturally, if they came to my page, they liked what I was doing. Oh, I want to see what she's doing on Instagram, or I want to connect with her over there, or maybe I want to send her a DM. They would come over to my Instagram. They would most likely follow me, and then they would send me a DM. So in the past year, I've been very lacking in my Instagram presence, and my Instagram has grown probably close to 4,000 just from not really doing much, but having the presence on TikTok, having that linked up in my profile, and again, dropping those little, it's the seeds here and there. Come send me a message on Instagram. I'll connect with you over there. And then again, like I can continue to nurture them there too. So there definitely is a correlation between a lot of people will see being present on TikTok and getting that organic growth that I don't think any other platform is really seeing like TikTok is, and using it to grow your other platforms as well.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. That was like a nice ending, juicy little golden nugget there. And really, when you're doing it gave me the idea, anytime you're going to do a video on TikTok, your call to action, saying right on the video, come DM me on Instagram. I'd love to chat with you. Like how easy is that to do right in your video? So I can't thank you enough, Aubree, for being on the show today. So where can the audience see your work?
Absolutely. So of course, you can come check out my TikTok. I'm kind of getting used to saying that like on podcast interviews now, like, you usually do that. I'm on Instagram, come check me out on Instagram, but I am on TikTok. So if you're looking for some inspiration, you want to see, I do my fair share of dancing, just because again, like it's fun for me. Not every video is dancing, but if you want to come see me dance like a mom, you can come over, check me out on TikTok. It's just my name at Aubree Malick. Of course, I'm on Instagram. I, mentioned my podcast too. And if any of your listeners are thinking about maybe getting started in the virtual assistant space, I would love to share a freebie if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I will make sure that everything is in the show notes. And this was a lot of fun today, Aubree. And I'm already following you on TikTok. So you guys make sure you go follow Aubree and get some TikTok inspiration.
Thanks so much for having me.
I can't thank you enough for listening today and supporting this show. The best way to support me and grow the podcast is by leaving a written review on Apple iTunes. I promise you, I read every review and take them to heart. And don't forget, head to bossladyinsweatpants.com to grab all my freebies or hang out with me on Instagram at Allison Scholes. I'll see you soon.